Barbs, your lifestyle and wellness coach. Today I want to talk about seasonal people in our lives. What are seasonal people? These are people who come into our lives for a season, for a very specific season. Unlike family, we are born with them. They come, the moment you are born, they are there, They cannot be seasonal. But I'm talking about these other people who come into our lives, who start off as strangers, but we end up having some form of relationship with them. It can be friendship, it can be a romantic relationship, it can be any kind of relationship, all kinds, acquaintances, workmates, bosses, whatever. Some people are seasonal in our lives. The thing about seasonal people, we don't see it immediately, like why are they in our life? When they come in, of course there's the excitement, the butterflies, we are just in such a good space with them. But they serve a specific purpose, and when their purpose is served and their season is over, they need to move on. And we need to find the grace to let them go, to cut off the cord. It's not easy letting go of someone. Maybe you were romantically involved with someone, now you have to let them go because their season is over. But it's important to have this awareness in yourself that some people are seasonal. They are not in our lives for good. They are not there to stay. They are just there to serve a specific purpose. And when they are done, they need to move on to the next chapter of their life. And the good thing about allowing yourself to let go, to give them up, to give them that freedom to go, is that you are also entering the next chapter of your life. After all, life is not, any relationship is not a destination. We are in transition, we are moving, we are growing, we are regenerating, we are healing from traumas, we are becoming better. So as we are becoming, it's okay to also allow them to become who they are meant to become. I'm going to share something personal about seasonal people in our lives. I was once married. We were happy. We were so in love. But this was a seasonal marriage. The person was meant to serve a specific purpose in my life. I'm going to talk about myself because this is my story. I cannot talk about the role that I was meant to play in their lives because I don't know. Maybe I did play a certain role, maybe I did not, but I'm going to talk about the role he played in my life. You see, I was married to a medical practitioner. And for those who know me, I've been through so much medically. I've gone through 14 surgical operations. I've been diagnosed with cervical cancer. I've been diagnosed with endometriosis. I've been diagnosed with autoimmune disease. I've been deaf. So try to picture this, being married to someone who is not medically inclined. Will they put up with all that? Will they understand? Will they be patient enough to... It's just not possible. But I had this person to help me go through my journey, one, to help me understand what was going on with my body. Because I swear, sometimes it was just a mystery, like, what is going on? Why are these things happening to me? When does it all end? All these questions. But he helped me through this journey of my life, this chapter of my life. so that I had a clearer understanding of what was going on with my body. One, I needed someone to help me understand, to help me cope, to help me process all these new changes, these new things happening to me. I needed someone in the know, someone professionally inclined. So this was a seasonal marriage for me. I would not have survived. I won't be here today with someone who is not medically inclined, because they wouldn't have understood the amount of attention that I was getting medically. I would not have even sought it, because I wouldn't have understood what was happening. So it's important to understand, to reflect, and accept that some people are just there for a season in our life, and when their season is over, we allow them to go. We allow them to be the next person they are meant to be. We allow them to go and start a new season elsewhere, and we are not afraid. We don't feel threatened. We don't feel like that affects or reflects badly on us. Of course, it's painful, because this is someone, like in my case, after 14 years together, we had to part ways. But it was for a reason. I wouldn't be in this new chapter of my life if I had remained in that unhappy situation, because towards the end, it was a very unhappy marriage. We were not making each other happy. We were not happy with our own selves, because I know happiness cannot come from someone else. It's an internal kind of thing. You choose to be happy and you will become happy, but the environment, everything had become so toxic. We were now toxic for each other. We were not helping each other grow. We were now causing each other pain. We were now causing each other resentment. We were now causing each other to regret. Then that's not a basis for a marriage. So it's important to understand there are seasonal people in our lives. It doesn't mean we are bad people. It doesn't mean we are failures. It doesn't mean we are not resilient, or we are not, I don't know, whatever you may think of. It doesn't mean that. It just means that the season has come to an end. Some seasons are longer than others, some are shorter. But it's all seasons of life. We need to accept that in life we go through all kinds of things. And once we have made peace with all that, it's easier to move on. Find closure. It's not easy to move on from a season, from a relationship. So you need help. Seek professional help. I did go for therapy. I did talk to people. Well, I don't mean talking to everyone. And sometimes these seasonal relationships, they come with, there are other relationships that we are in because of who we are with at the time. And when the season of that relationship comes to an end, we have to be open and accepting that we will say goodbye to other people we thought they were friends. So it's not just about the two of you deciding to part ways and that's it, and life goes back to it's a new life altogether, because you have to let go of some relationships, and some relationship mushrooms out of the ashes of the burnt, the old. There is something that rises from that, something beautiful, and accepting that the old relationship was a season that has come to an end. It's part of your healing as a person, because you need to heal You need to find closure. And you need to move on. Sometimes you're going to rebound. Yes, it happens. It's natural. Sometimes the rebound is just a reminder of who you are, what the fun, it's just like a push towards where you want to go next. It's important to understand that the rebound is not your destination. You are still moving forward. You are reminding yourself that you are still alive, that you are still human, you still feel things, you still get attracted. It's not a crime. But you need to know, is this for real? Is this my next relationship, or is just a rebound? And you should be graceful again enough to end it. Because sometimes you are rebounding, the other person thinks they have found their happily ever after. So be graceful enough to move out and let the other person find their happily ever after. And that also makes it a seasonal relationship. You needed a rebound. You were going through a rebound phase. So that's your season. It's your rebound season. You are also letting go of someone. So there are all kinds. And then sometimes maybe you eventually meet your happily ever after, the real happily ever after. Maybe it's a long season of happily ever after. But every relationship comes with its own challenges, with its own excitement. Do not compare everyone to the previous season. Yeah, in my last season this was happening. No. That previous season, the season you've walked out of, the relationship that you've left behind, can be a point of reference, but not where you dwell. It's like your past. You cannot live in the past. You can deduce some lessons, some pearls of wisdom, or whatever it is that you want, but you do not dwell there. You cannot compare everyone to your past. You cannot expect everyone to be exactly like your past. Then you have not moved on. But it's important to know that each season comes and goes. And when a season is gone, or it has outlived its time, be gracious. Understand that you need to move forward. You need to step into the next chapter of your life. And the important thing also is to remember that you are the author of your own story. You have the power in your hands to decide how the story goes. The narrative of the story is entirely up to you. Do you want to live in the past, always talking? There are people who never move past their breakup. They are so focused on it, it becomes their everything. Whatever life, they start talking about the other person, how the person, they backbite the other person, stab them in the back. There's so much negativity. But when you understand, when you appreciate that there are seasons, just like the weather, there are seasons in life. There are some seasonal relationships. For some, it's just so that you have those beautiful children that you have. And then the season is over. Embrace it. Move into the next phase, into the next season. Let go of the past. Understand that this new season brings its own excitement, its own fun, its own challenges. Sometimes your season was a season of being childless. It's okay. And I have an example of some person that I know. They were married. They didn't have a child. But then they discovered that the other partner had a child somewhere. instead of embracing this child, they couldn't stand this child because, one, the child was never revealed to them. There's lack of empathy, lack of communication in the relationship anyway. And they were so angry. But eventually their season of childlessness ended and they started having their own children. They had their own children. Because of this new season they went into, they found it in their heart to open up their doors to this child who was born out of wedlock. Because let's face it, it's not the child's fault that they were born the way they were born. They were born to the parents they were born to. What we can do is open up ourselves and say, I will be, say you're a mother or the extra father of this child. The other children have 2, this one will have 3. Make them feel important, make them feel valued, make them feel loved. There's nothing as bad as a grown-up person who takes out their anger or their issues with their partner or spouse on a child, an innocent child. Maybe this child is bringing a whole new chapter into your life that you would not have dreamt of. So it's important to accept these changes that happen in our lives. They happen for a reason. We may not see it at the moment because maybe we are so clouded by anger, by pain, by all these emotions that we are going through, the betrayal, the unfaithfulness, all these things. But once we allow ourselves time to breathe, to heal, and to stand back and say, I'm going to look at this from a different perspective. I'm going to be accepting. I'm going to be forgiving. I'm going to be compassionate. I'm going to be kind. You realize that this can be the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter that is going to help you grow, that is going to transform your life, that is going to help you become so much better, become the best version of yourself, because we are on a journey of growth. We are on a journey of regeneration. If something has been broken because of unfaithfulness, because of maybe secrecy in the relationship, but when we open ourselves, we allow ourselves to embrace whatever is being introduced. Usually it's in the form of a baby, fine. But we accept this child because they did not choose. We have the choice, the power to choose, to move on, to regenerate. Because something obviously has been broken, the trust and everything. But when we allow ourselves to regenerate, we become something better, something more, something bigger. So it's important to understand the seasons of life. And when we take time to reflect and just think about our lives, where we have come from, how far we have come, the things we have accomplished, the relationships that have come and gone, the people that we've met, they've all played a role in making us who we are today. They've contributed to our being, to our becoming. So we also need to remember that we are also playing a role in the becoming of someone else. We are also a season in the life of someone else. We also have a role to play in someone's season being comfortable. Yes, comfortable, because you want your own seasons to be as comfortable as possible. So let's aim to make the seasons of others around us as comfortable as possible. We become who we want others to be to us. It's very important. So what are we learning from this? There are seasons in life. Sometimes it's summer, sometimes it's spring, sometimes it's winter, sometimes it's autumn. But as just like nature goes through changes as the seasons change, we will also experience changes in our lives. Certain things will change. Some things will be broken. Some things will grow. But it's important to just keep growing, to just keep moving forward. Because seasons are part of life. Seasons are what make us who we are. The person we are today is because of the seasons we've experienced, the seasons we have lived through, the seasons that we are in. We keep growing, we keep learning, we keep becoming better, we transform. We are not the same person every time. And especially after a season, we are entirely different. We may even discover new things. The end of a season is the ushering in of a new season for you. I'll give you an example of myself. After the season of my marriage ended, the author in me was born. I've always been a literary person. I love reading, but I never really saw myself as an author, But I now write. I've written books. I've collaborated with powerful women and fellow Africans. I am writing a magazine, a weekly magazine. Who would have thought that one day I'll be an author and editor and everything in between? It's because I allowed the new season that I'm in now to manifest, to let its newness, whatever it was bringing, I allowed it to blossom in me. And as the season blossoms, you also blossom. You grow, you change, you become understanding. You are kinder, because kindness is important, compassion is important, love is important. Being peaceful about everything, finding your peace, peace with yourself, peace with your maker, peace with the world. You need to start living holistically. Allow yourself to go through the seasons. Some are very painful, some even more painful than others. But the old makes way for the new. Just like old things die so that new things can sprout, new life can sprout from the ground. We also need to know that the seasons in our lives are just meant, they are a rite of passage. They are meant to make us better. They are meant to make us wiser. They are meant to make us kinder and to be more loving. We forgive ourselves, we forgive those who have wronged us, who are causing us to go through this new season. We forgive them. And we wish them well, just like we wish ourselves well. And it's amazing. It's a journey, it's empowering. And you discover sides to yourself that you never thought existed. Things that you never thought. If you had stayed in the same old situation, you wouldn't have experienced some of the most amazing experiences. And I'm speaking from experience. I know that's a lot of experience there going on, but it's so true. I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be experiencing, I wouldn't be having the relationships that I have now. The friendships, the acquaintances, business partners, romantic relationships. All this would not have been possible if I had hung on to a season that is over, hanging on to a dead relationship, which is not even, there was no more life there. So it's important to make sure that you continue living. As long as you can still breathe, continue living. Do not die and just wait for years and years and years to be buried. Continue living. Step into the newness. Let go of old seasons. Embrace new seasons. Do not be afraid. The only thing you should fear is stagnation. When you do not grow, when you stop growing, then there's something wrong. I'm not saying everyone should get divorced. Please don't get me wrong. I'm just talking about all kinds of relationships. That some relationships come and go because they were seasonal. Their season is over. They need to move on to the next people. Impact them, change them, help them grow, give them new purpose, or even help them discover their gifts, their talents, and find alignment. So it's okay to change. It's okay to move on. It's okay to let go. And most importantly, it's okay to know that this is the time for you to move on. This is the time for you to start afresh and not be afraid. Seek help, talk to someone, explain to those who need to be explained to. But do not put yourself through an uncomfortable, unhappy situation just to make others happy. It's important to know that your life has seasons, it's seasonal, and you go through all the seasons. Love yourself enough to know that a season has come and gone, and it's time to move on to the next one. Thank you for joining me today. Till next time, be blessed and happy transitioning into your new seasons. Bye.